Today we're talking about my favorite accessories for the Fujifilm X100V, why I picked them, and which ones I decided not to pick up. Before we get started, I did buy all of these accessories myself. Nobody's paying me to say this, and there's no sponsors for this video. I do have links to everything that I mentioned down below in the description, and some of them are affiliate links, so I do get a little bit of kickback if you decide to buy through those links. First up, we have Square Hood version 5 by Square Hood. I did a lot of research on these and ended up with this one because it matches my 28mm Summicron lens. There are a few drawbacks, like if you want to use a filter with it, the sleeve that they sent isn't quite long enough, so you have to add a spacer in there, which Square Hood did provide free of charge, and I am in contact with them about getting a longer sleeve, but that isn't that big of a deal because I use a wide angle conversion lens. But that is definitely something that got in the way, and then you get that focus error, which is kind of annoying if you're using a filter with it. But ultimately, I'm really happy with this hood. I think it looks really nice, and it's a little bit functional. Next up is the soft shutter release button. I've seen a lot of people online talking about how they wouldn't put it on their X100V because it's been breaking or it breaks their shutter button or whatever. I haven't had any issues with this. I've used this for almost a year, and it's had a soft shutter release button in it the entire time. I opted for a pretty cheap one from Amazon, kept it black to match the camera and have that kind of sleek aesthetic. There are a few other brands that I'm interested in, like Artisan Obscura, that have some pretty cool soft shutter release buttons, but for now the plastic one is totally fine. I've got on my X100V and another one on my M6, and I've had no issues. It's been just nice to have and makes it a little bit more ergonomic to use. I picked up the wide angle conversion lens because I love the 28mm full frame look, and this conversion lens definitely didn't disappoint. I recently took it to a University of Michigan tailgate, where I got some really fun photos. Now, it's definitely not as sharp as my 28mm Summicron M from Leica, but I wasn't expecting it to be, and for what it is, it's a great conversion lens that I'm definitely going to keep on the camera. I've never really used a conversion lens before, and I'm really impressed by this one. Back to convenience accessories, I've got these Peak Design anchors on all of my cameras, but I opted for the black ones for this X100V to keep that clean, black aesthetic. These are on all my cameras so that I can use all of my Clever Supply straps with them. I love Clever Supply. They've got some of the best straps in my opinion. I love that I can have them on different cameras and it's not a pain to switch them out. So my everyday strap that I use almost constantly is this 30-inch black minimal strap, and I love it. It feels like the perfect length for me. I love these straps with the X100V. And last up is my Tiffin Black Pro Mist 1/8 strength filter. This is kind of the secret filter that everybody knows about. I love having it on my lenses so that it can give that kind of bloom to the highlights while also retaining blacks and shadows. I also feel like it helps to take off that digital edge of these modern sensors, and with the Fujifilm X100V specifically, I feel like it helps add that more filmic look to the picture. Now I have it on my wide angle conversion lens, so all I do is just screw it on and then tighten the lens hood on top of that. So that works out really nicely for me, and I've really enjoyed doing that. A little tip, if you're just picking up the filter and not using the conversion lens, you will need an adapter or else you're gonna get this focus error, and that always kind of freaks me out because you don't know how far or if you're gonna break something in the camera. So be careful with that, and definitely add that filter adapter before using it. And you might have noticed that I haven't talked about using a thumb grip, and that's because I think that the thumb grips are wildly overrated for these cameras. They don't sit in the right spot for me. I feel like it's an awkward position, and they cover up the thumb wheel, which isn't that big of a deal because I basically use this camera as a point and shoot anyways. but I just haven't found it to be really that useful. So I never picked one up, and I probably won't. I also don't use the leather case on my camera, even though they look really nice. I just feel like it would get in the way a lot for me. Also, the ones that I've seen, they don't let your camera sit flat, and that would drive me nuts. I also charge with the USB-C, and I download by taking this SD card out each time. So I really feel like it would just get in the way more than it would actually be helpful. So I'm holding off on that one until maybe one day I'll decide that it's worth it. But that's it. If you've got any questions or there's any accessories that you really like for this camera that I didn't mention, please comment them down below. And if you're still here, please like and subscribe. It really does make a huge difference. And I'll see you in the next one.